안녕하세요. 젤륨은 마리쿠테입니다. 한국 열을 무지서 미안해요. Hello, my name is Marie-Kuti. I'm sorry I cannot speak Korean. I will try to learn. Thank you for your interest in my work and for coming to see this exhibition and for coming to see the talk. 감사합니다. I want to thank the host, Dongdainum Design Plaza, for staging this exhibition in such a beautiful building. Thank you. My name is Marie-Kuti and I live in Melbourne, Australia. I'm a designer and a writer, and I make books for children and for adults on different subjects from history, art, design, culture, and typography. Today, I would like to talk to you about letter art and my creative typography. So let's talk about creative typography. I've always been fascinated by the links between words and art. Creative typography comes in many forms, and it usually follows after the technological advancements in printing and in writing, because designers love to use technology to explore new creative possibilities. All through history, creativity with type has exploited the technology of the day, from woodblock printing to letterpress and shape setting, to letter-set transfer lettering and the digital fonts of the computer. Designers will always explore and use technology to innovate and find new ways to express ideas. Paul Asher, American designer, said once, "Words have meaning, type has spirit. The combination is spectacular." And I very much like that idea. I'd like to show you some of my early inspirations. This is a poem called A Mouse's Tale that is in a book called Alice in Wonderland. The poem has been shapeset, here's another version, shapeset to look like a mouse's tail. In 1865, when this was made, it's very difficult to create this kind of shape setting. Not so hard today, thanks to the computer. This from 1965 is Reinhard Doll's Apple. I've translated it to English here. Inside this apple there is a worm hiding, a little worm. Can you see it? I'll give you a minute. There it is. I made a red one so you can see it. Take it away. There it is again. So yes, you can make a paragraph look like a mouse's tail or an apple. And also singular words can be used to express creative ideas as well. This work is from the 1980s. As you can see, in the word alone, the L has been changed for a number 1 to express that loneliness. In the word period, the dot has been moved from the I to the end of the word, period. In this word perfection, 100 is concealed inside the word to denote 100% and perfect. And with the word graft, 2 different fonts have been grafted together to create a word. Now this kind of creative type is called concrete poetry, and this sort of work comes from imagination and from observation. And it is the result of the artist looking closer than we normally look. Milton Glaser, the designer, said, "We are always looking, but we never really see." But of course, designers, we need to practice looking closer and opening our eyes and our mind to the world around us. So there are 3 things I'd like to say about being creative. Number 1, your perspective is unique. Only you see the world the way you see it. Only you see it through your eyes. So if you see something that interests you, trust yourself, because it's very likely it will interest others also. Number 2, be curious. Look closer, observe, notice, and question. Ask questions. What's new? What's changed? Why? Train yourself to notice patterns and changes in patterns and missing links. This is a very basic human ability, a basic human skill that we all use, but designers use it a lot more. And it can help you to notice things earlier than others and to have original ideas. And number 3, one thing leads to another. I've learned through my design career that one project always leads me to another. And if you have an open mind to the world and keep your mind open to the links that the world shows you, you can follow your inspiration from project to project. My letter art project was actually inspired by a photo alphabet project, photography. When I walk around the streets of my city, I can see shapes everywhere. The world is made of shapes. And as I walk the streets or inside my home or look about me, I can see shapes everywhere, and many of them to me resemble the letters of the alphabet. These are some photographs of Melbourne in which I can see letters of the alphabet. I hope you can see the same shapes I can and recognise the letters of the alphabet. If you open your mind, you can see all kinds of things. This project I called Alphabet City. And it's very good practice for being observant to your surrounding environment. So I collected many letters from other cities as well as Melbourne, but the Melbourne letters I combined into a book for children to encourage children to be more observant and to notice the world around them and to look for letters wherever they are. It's a great little exercise. Yes, so I collected many alphabets, and I turned my favourites into this children's book called Alphabet City Melbourne, which encourages children to look up, look down, look all around, the alphabets all over town. It's hidden in the scenery, the letters of the ABC. There's some more artwork from the same project. Salvador Dali said once, "Looking is a way of inventing." And I agree very much with this statement. If you look very closely, ideas will occur to you. And in the world of design, I know that one thing leads to another, as I've said. And that photographic alphabet inspired me to make this new project I call letter art. And this time I use letters to create pictures. Rather than finding them in the environment, I'm actually creating the images with letters. The alphabet is made of shapes, and quite simple shapes. Straight lines, circles, curves. And when you combine these shapes, you can make letter forms. Here is a simple alphabet with capitals and lowercase letters and quite simple curves and straight lines. This is a basic serif alphabet. Again, capitals and lowercase. And here is a collection of different fonts, different typeface designs. It happens in every language. Typeface designers love to create a variety of designs because designers like to express mood and fashion and tone and style through their choice of typeface. So, as I said, I'm inspired by architecture where I see letters, and one can make an image from that inspiration in architecture using the letters like this to recreate that image. And here is a recreation of a streetscape. One can also be inspired by the letter shape. So, for example, if we look at this letter A, what does it remind us of? Let's use the imagination, and for me, I can see the roof of a house. When I'm inspired by the letter J, using some imagination, I can create an umbrella. And the letter Q makes me think of a cat with its tail. The problem with these, although they're fun, is that they are not using the correct letters of the image. And I think the letter art idea has no value unless the images use the actual letters from the word. You see, there is no Q in cat, of course. So that's the problem. And it became obvious to me that what I needed to begin working with was correct spelling. That would give it much more value for young readers. And so I created the letter art rules. It must be the correct spelling. I choose one font per letter. Letters can be upside down or back to front, and even repeated if necessary. But ideally, use no reversals and no repeats. Here is a cat made from C's, A's and T's. I've used a few more than an ideal photogram, but this is a fun exercise. And this cat is exactly the same recipe, but using different fonts. In the children's book, the verse says, "Every part of me is a letter. Does that help you see me better? Back to front or upside down, all my letters can be found." And so let's look now at how I approach each illustration. I take the letters of the animal's name, for example, a snake, and have a think about what a snake looks like, and then assign a font to each letter of the word, selecting what I think will work in the final shape, which is as follows. S-N-A-K-E. If we take the same word and assign different fonts to those letters, we get a different snake. Here's another one. Swan, S-W-A-N. Of course you can use lowercase letters, but in this instance, it's the capital letters that I choose because these are the fonts I choose to use. They are all capital and they come together to make a swan like so. And so the work is actually formed into three categories: architectural pictures, which I call architext, animal pictures, which I call alphabeasts, and portraits of people, which I call letterheads. I have made quite a few books on different themes, different subject matter using the same device. Let's look at architext. I'm inspired by the shapes of architecture around me to create pictures of scenes. For example, Sydney Harbour Bridge. I've assigned these fonts to the letters of Sydney Harbour Bridge, and they come together to form this picture. The letters for Sacré-Cœur, the church in France, are at the top of the page, top of the screen, and here's a close-up of how it's constructed. And Arc de Triomphe in Paris uses the letters at the top of the screen to create this monument. Alphabets are animals made from letter art. This is one of my favourite books, Alphabets. It's an A to Z of alphabetical animals, and in this book I used colour to delineate the letter that the animal's name begins with. S is for seahorse, for example. T is for tortoise. You can see how I've used the colour there to accentuate the letter of the alphabet. That's J for jaguar again. Animology is a large book of quite complex illustrations, all made from the letters of the animal's name, of course. Here's a baboon and a lion. Those 4 letters at the top of the screen create the image. Dogography is a recent book which of course contains all dogs, and they're spelled in letters, and it's just using the dog breed name to create the image. Like Pug, P-U-G, makes this image of this little dog. Letterheads are portraits of people, and this one, for example, is just an exercise in playing with letters and getting to know the shapes of letters just for fun. It's not a real person. It is made from the letters that spell Diane, D-I-A-N-E. And this portrait is made from Abraham Lincoln's name, famous American president. I'm working on a book at the moment full of letterheads, which are mostly rock musicians. There's Grace Jones and there's Pink, and also Elton John. It's quite a challenge to make an image of somebody who is famous from just the letters of their name. And finally, I've made some animated photograms. I hope you like them. Thank you everybody for your interest in my letter art. Thank you very much for your attention today. I hope that you enjoyed the exhibition. and I hope I can come back to Korea very soon. Thank you all very much. 감사합니다.